Ooh, what car could this be? Let's go.
Rolling off to yet one another morning drive. And we have again 30 over cars, Porsche Boxsters, BMW M3, and a bone stock S2000, MX-5s, Minis. These are normal, and any cars would do. Even this Hyundai Kona Turbo I'm in. You know, we don't care what car you drive as long as you come out in the morning to drive. That's the most important thing. Alright? And this car is hilariously quick for what it is. Alright, 1.6 turbo. Alright guys, I'm behind the wheel of the Hyundai Kona 1.6 Turbo. Now at this moment in time, I have no idea how many drivetrain configuration that the Hyundai Kona has. Because I've driven the NA, I heard there's a hybrid, I knew there's an EV, and this is the turbo. First of all, when I first saw this car, I was like, oh, that interior is nothing much, you know, it's pretty boring to look at. And after driving it since yesterday, it's very, very well built. And as you can see now, it handles well. And from pictures, it looks like a small car. But this is a car that is the size of a HRV. I'm not sure if it is even bigger in exterior wise, because it's not small. It is not a small car. Alright? And now, how does it drive? I'm here to find out. Alright? I leave the car in normal mode instead of sports mode because I felt the sports mode has a little bit of perpetual overboost effect. You know, like you lift off the throttle, it is still boosting that kind of effect. Alright? Now, it's obviously front wheel drive, I think, from how it drives. I don't think it's four wheel drive. You can definitely feel the front end pulling away and wider towards the corners. Alright? But overall, the car's chassis is very accomplished. Alright, it has a good chassis. Right, you are able to corner, and then it's athletic in terms of its chassis. What I think would be a little bit better. Okay, I like that. I like to feel the wheels, because modern steering wheels you can't tell much, right? I like to feel the wheels. Alright, sorry. So I like to find out how does it drive and where are the limits, you know, because in terms of transmission pairing with the drivetrain, I think there is a little bit of a room for improvement. Even though I'm now driving in normal mode, I didn't go into sports because the sports tend to sort of over boost, may I use that word, in some ways. Alright, yeah, there is that over boosting that keeps on creeping up every time after I lift off the throttle. Alright, but overall it's a fun driving car. It helps. I see there's a lag there, right? But I'm in normal mode. If I go to sports, alright, it's very obvious. The throttle mapping of the car is hypersensitive, and I see I can feel the front having a little bit of a struggle. That means the car, regardless of how the front wheels are gripping, is still pushing power in sports mode. Pretty interesting, I would say. And here I need to lean the car, and see, the chassis is so good. The chassis just handles it. Brakes, I haven't explored it much yet. I think the capabilities of this car is muted by the fact, muted by the great soundproofing, the good damping, and of course the lack of steering feel. All right, but it's all right. The steering is tight and accurate. Oh, in sports mode, right? Anytime you put your feet on the throttle, the power just comes. There's no lag, no waiting. Even after you lift off your throttle, the power is still there. Unlike the usual German turbocharged cars that we're used to, whereby the moment you go into sports mode, they run in 1 or 2 gears lower, and then when you lift off your throttle, the car just drags a little bit, right? This one doesn't. This one just, it still continues power on, a little bit of speed until it eases off. Alright? So, it's a fast car. It is a fast car. You won't be able to experience this in a short test drive. Alright? Because the interior design doesn't shout interesting or exclusive, even though even though the build quality is really good. But other than that, in an usual test drive, you would feel that, oh, what's up with the sports mode, you know, so hyper aggressive, and then there's not a lot of like shiny, obvious points that makes you seal the deal in a test drive, in a normal 15-minute test drive. But I can tell you, it is a very well-built car, first off. Secondly, it's fast. Third, the equipment levels are really good. There's a full LCD screen, a heads-up display, lane keep assist. That is a little bit annoying because every time you start the car, it turns back on by default. You need to hold the button to switch it off. And then your Distronic, every time I get close to a car approaching at too high a speed, the car will send a warning, you know. I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to remind careless, clumsy drivers. Alright? So, look at it. Look at how it handles all these curves and bumps and all that. Yes, you can hear the engine, but this is what segment car? I mean, this type of segment, right? With a small 1.6 litre turbocharged engine, you're bound to hear the engine screaming at you. Alright? So if you want to mask the engine's loud noise, you may opt for, you know, exhaust, stuff like that. So yeah. And the tires are not bad. I haven't checked out what tires are they. I was worried at first about, you know, whether the tires are good enough for a moderately enthusiastic drive. Alright, but the tires so far hold up really well. I need to check the tires later. You see, it's a fast car. It's a fast, small car. My God. And the turn-in is rather confidence-inspiring. You know, I mean, it's tidy. Alright, somewhat sporty. Like, the suspension is not like the type where, you know, how I always mention that Volkswagen Passat, Arteon suspension, whereby they, you know, they're super pliant. The suspension of this is tight, alright, and controlled. And where you thought a bump might happen, it will happen, you know, instead of like magically ironing it away. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. Empty roads. Everywhere is empty. Damn. If no one told me it's a DCT, I would have thought it's a CVT because the way it sounds, the way it eases when you eases off the throttle, the fact that it did not do the, you know, like classic dual clutch, you know, downshift, it just gradually, you know, I thought it's a CVT, but someone told me just now it's a DCT. Nevertheless, I don't read you the specs. I mean, because specs, you can check the specs of any car on the internet, right? Oh, it does this really well. No understeer. Okay, there's a little bit of a dragging there just now. Maybe the car hesitating. It's like, are you sure you want to put your throttle down now at this juncture? You know. Okay, I can hear a little bit of the tires, and the front end hasn't pushed out. Just now on public roads, when I was using sports mode, I was like, yeah, I think I prefer the normal mode. But now on this climbing, windy mountain roads, yeah, definitely sports mode. It gives you power all the time. Even though the power is not a lot, but for the size, the weight of the car, it's able to pull. Nice. Brakes are firm, progressive, doesn't chop. Well sorted, well sorted. Modern Hyundais, I tell you, modern Hyundais and Kias, right, they all drive really well. And of course, we have to thank that guy from BMW M that joined Hyundai's N division. Obviously, he's not in. I'm not sure whether he's even in charge of this car because he's in charge of N, right? But I don't think a person like that has no influence to how these products, the future products, do. Alright? Well sorted, it grips in the inner corner, doesn't push out. You can feel the weight wanting to go that way, you know, same like Audis, you can feel it, but so far it's able to hold it, right? And when I point to a tighter angle, even though I can feel the weight wanted to go the other side, the chassis balance of the car and the grip of the tires allows the car to stay on course. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Never at one point whereby the car make me feel that I'm running into trouble. You see, just now, even if I tighten the steering wheel a little bit, there's a little bit of understeer, right? But it doesn't do like cutting the power, stuff like that. It's very good. Okay, it's closed. Again, it's closed. Damn! Very nice car to drive. And given the fact that this is a crossover, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Very good thumbs up. There we go. Nice. Interesting.
When I switched to Pro mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less. A lot.
Turn up!
You know what? Now that there's more sunlight, then only I realized that my seats have Alcantara. And there are some N logos on this car. So apparently this is not just the normal Kona 1.6 turbo. It is the N line. No wonder. Oh yeah, that's the lane keep assist. It comes on every single time you start the car. You need to hold the button to switch it off. So no wonder the color, you know, the go fast bits, you know, the gear knob. I was like, oh, the gear knob feels nice. Now only I see that it's perforated with an N logo there. So obviously this car has some bits of N treatment to it. And when you drive a crossover with good handling and going past speed bumps like that, you feel a little bit more superior to your other low riding friends, because speed bumps is no longer something that you need to slow down that much. Alright? See, I like the turn in of the car. The turn in is sharp, the steering is very accurate. It's nice. It's a nice riding car. It drives sharper than the Countryman. Alright, Countryman being a a mini, has that brand heritage and all that. You see, look at the car. Hasn't even started understeering. There's no sound from the tires, despite such a tight radius turning. Oh, that's an E. That's an electric Countryman. No wonder, the car feels a little bit firmer, a little bit tighter, everything, because it's a Kona N. See, I like how it, you can point the car into a sharper turn in, and it's fine. Not bad. I really prefer the characteristics of the drivetrain under normal mode. It's more predictable compared to in sports mode. You can try it yourself when you test drive the car. Sports mode is hyper aggressive, and every time you lift the throttle, there are quite some leftover aggression on the car. Very nice. I think it is one of those small crossovers for people who likes driving while also wanted a crossover-ish kind of car. More practical, family usage and all that. Really, I really think that it is on par with those sedans that handles well. Even though this is a crossover, it's certainly a tighter handling than the likes of like X50 and all that. But of course, the car isn't cheap to begin with. It's 157,000 ringgit. I learned it just now after I stopped the car, chatting with friends. It's 157,000, not cheap. But the performance and the handling, I would say, matches up to the driving experience. Okay, it has a more sophisticated suspension setup than the Mazda 3. Of course, Mazda 3 is a different thing. Mazda 3, it was a conscious intention to use torsion beam to provide that type of pivoting front end while you're cornering, which feels more like a rear-wheel drive car. This one, however, is straight up front-wheel drive characteristics. Very much like a Volkswagen. The way it bites in, even though you feel that the front end wants to go out, it still bites and turns. Very much like a Volkswagen. Before I forgot, I was mentioning how good the tires were, right? Upon inspection, these are Continental Premium Contact 6. Fantastic tires. Comfortable and predictable handling and massive amounts of grip. And it's just all really good tires. Alright? I off the camera, but then I saw a Megane coming from behind. Okay, why I was laughing? My colleague Thomas, coming in his Megane RS 280, he was following my speed in going past the speed bump, but I'm a crossover. He's a sports hatch. This is just funny. Oh, what is that guy doing? Oh, there's a Mazda 3.